some of the commenters on Locked In with Ian Bick, the podcast that I did, have asked to expound upon some of the different scenarios and situations, that went on that I discussed. One of which was in the Wyoming State prison, while I was in solitary confinement for several years. The toilet paper incident, let's call it. So, to expound upon it a little bit more, basically, when you're living in there 24 hours a day in solitary confinement, um, we were permitted. There was no shower in the cells in the Wyoming State prison, in the C block on the old maximum security prison, um, the max side of the old state prison. Excuse me. So, 15 minutes a day, you were allowed out of your cell, and you'd come out on the run. Uh, the doors up front of the unit were, automatic, so they would unlock your cell door. It would come open, and you would come out to be able to take a shower. Uh, on the tier, there's a little day room with a phone in it, so you'd get in there for about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour a day, and then you'd have shower time, so you'd be on the tier for your shower. And that was a time when you would come out if you needed things like toilet paper or something from the guards. So a lot of times you had to go up, and there was a little, like a bean chute, we called them, um, like a tray door that went out into the rotunda area. And so you'd go up there and knock on the window, and the guy in the bubble would, ask you what you need, and there would be another officer sometimes that would run things, to the doors. So on this day, there was the officer in the bubble. I remember his name was, I believe it was McFerrin. Anyways, and so I had went over and I needed some toilet paper. I had no toilet paper, and I went and I knocked on the window. Boom, boom, and I said, "Hey, McFerrin, I need some toilet paper." And I had the empty roll in my hand, the little cardboard thing you have to return in, and he was like, "Yeah, yeah," And the other officer, and I don't remember his name, but he was one of those guards that was a real tough guy, like treating us all like shit. That was just his thing. He was never really a nice guard. He wasn't the kind to give you an extra tray, or give you anything extra, or be any kind of extra polite. He was one of those guards that kind of seemed to live for, treating inmates as bad as he could. And for the life of me, I can't remember his name. But so I would told him, "Hey, I need some toilet paper," and he was like, "No, it's time to lock down. Go lock down." I told him, "No, fuck you. I've been waiting for my toilet paper forever. I gotta have toilet paper. I'm in a cell. They give you like one roll, and you gotta turn the thing in to get another roll, so it makes it hard. You can wrap some off, and save some up, but toilet paper's a big thing in there. You're stuck in a cell. You got shit." So I told him, "Look, motherfucker, if you don't give me some goddamn toilet paper, I'm going to take this towel." Now, we would get our towels from them to shower with, and we would turn them back in. I said, "I'm going to wipe my ass on this towel, and you're going to get shit in your fucking hands." And he says, "Rack the block." Open the door. And I'm in slippers, so I jump back. I'm thinking, all right, we're going to fight. And he comes in the unit, and he just walks right past me, ignores me, and goes down to a cell. And anyway, tells him, "Hey, look, I was telling him something." So I looked at him a little suspiciously, and then I turned my back and I looked out at the bubble, and the officer McFerrin, and I had my toilet. I was like, "Hey, man, what's up, bro? Like, let me get some." He was cool. And the other guard, he had snuck behind me, and he grabbed me by the shoulder and spun me around. He said, "Get in your fucking cell." And so I kicked my slippers off, my shower shoes. And I said, "What's up, motherfucker? Come on then." And he jumped back, and he pulled out his can of mace. He's like, "I'm going to mace you." And I reached forward, whap! I smacked that can of mace out of his hand. And he looked at me, and he was happy. He said, "That's assault. I got you now." Anyways, so he rushed me. He came at me, and I literally sidestepped, boom, and pushed him, and he was a big guy, and he went flying down. And another officer, this officer's name was Shaw, a really cool dude. He was from India. I mean, This dude's a cool officer. I didn't know what was going on, but he had come into the unit while me and the other officer were getting into it and grabbed me. Well, I didn't know who was behind me. I just struck out with my elbow. Bam! And I hit Shaw, and he hit his head on the cement wall. And by then, other guards are running in, and they throw me down. I end up right in front of the original officer, and I grab his radio. They're wrestling with me, trying to get me in cuffs. And I said something like, "Kick it off!" And then slammed the radio. The battery went flying. So they finally get me in cuffs. And this guy's punching me. Just boom, boom. And I'm going to be honest with you. They were weak for such a big guard. And I'm not talking shit. I'm not, whatever. I mean, it was pretty soft. It was amazing, And so they picked me up deep. And they carried me all the way out. They smashed my head into the door on purpose at the end. They got me into an isolation cell. And now they usually will get a camera so they can video everything. And these guys, let me be real, anyone who's been there, you know what's up. They're good. They're real good. So they're good at whoever's holding the camera, they're not showing what's going on. They're just, making sure that it's seeing their backs and like something's happening. And so it's the audio. So of course their main thing is quit resisting, and they've got me in there and they're just beating the fuck out of me. They're stomping me. And it was brutal. I'm not going to lie. And I'm trying to fight back because, I was, kind of like, on Ian Bick's podcast, Locked In, he said, an animal. I was pretty in another mind frame. And so I'm encouraging them, you fucking pussies, that's all you got. I mean, they're kicking me, they're punching me. And at one point, they started jumping on my back. And that's what really got me. So I cracked a couple ribs. And the excruciating pain was just, as they were jumping on me. And one guy, and this is no joke, man, this is crazy. I felt him, I was just in my boxers, they grabbed my balls and they were like stretching them, like pulling them. And I'm telling them, "You fucking faggot." Yeah. And I mean, it hurt. It was horrible. And so the whole time, whoever's running the camera, God, I could only imagine that camera didn't show anything. They were not showing none of this. All you could hear is this, battle going on and this quit resisting. Ben had me in cuffs. So I ended up with a broken finger, a fractured wrist, and some fractured ribs. To this day, my hand goes numb. The pinky and the ring finger down around from the cuffs were on so tight. So when they got done with me, they left. And I'm in there like thinking they're going to come back and kill me for sure. And I thought I was dying. And they had to bring a nurse in. So when they did is before they brought the nurse in, they came in, they took the mop, they sprayed me in the face with the chemicals, the cleaning chemicals, and they mopped my face. They mopped some of the blood up, whatever was around there. And they stuck that fucking mop all up in my face. And the nurse came in, and never in my life I'll forget what she said. The first thing she said was, "Oh, you don't look too bad." And I just broke down. Like everything came out, and I started crying. And I was like, "They're gonna kill me, please." And she's like, "No, no, honey, you're okay." She has no idea what just happened in there, And it was pretty traumatic. I thought I was gonna die. I couldn't breathe. Any of you have ever had broke, cracked ribs, and then being cuffed and my hands numb. I didn't even know my finger was broke or that my wrist was cracked. And so later on, all the inmates, they were like, "Dude, we thought they were killing you in there." And I was like, "Yeah, man, they were." So anyways, after that, it continues and goes on. And I end up in some other situations, some similar, some more wild. But, feel free to follow along. I'm going to be interviewing some other guys who've been in situations, like this. And sometimes it can be hard for people that have never been there, to even fathom it. And a lot of the guys I've met that went to prison, they never went to the SHU. They never went to the solitary, and they didn't go to one like this. They weren't in there really battling. It was, getting your meals and laying down or reading your Bible. And, a few people have kind of seen some of this stuff. So follow along, All American Convict. It's been nice, guys.